This is my viewpoint on racism, what I think about racism, and this is me giving my honest opinion on it on all sides of the spectrum, beginning, middle, end, left, right, center, black, white, north, south, east, west, all that. So, I'm not saying this because of the time that we're living in right now, especially with this fucking race war, and I air quote and you can't see it. This race war going on where you got these fucking everybody that's an extremist coming out the woodwork. You got this side yelling Black Lives Matter, which is being misinterpreted as only Black Lives Matter. Then you got the fucking All Lives Matter people that fucking want to tear down the Black Lives Matter signs, and everybody's there's just this whole tension going on in America. But thing is I know I'm gonna sound like the biggest fucking hipster asshole in the world when I say this, but back when I was about 16 years old, about 16 and a half, I was getting ready to turn 17, and I had this revelation in my head. Like, it was like my third eye just opened up, and I saw the world for what it really was. My thoughts and, my, veracity, if you want to say, was changed and altered forever. First of all, my religious preference has changed drastically. I used to be a conservative Christian back when I was 16, but then suddenly I started looking like my viewpoints pretty much changed from believing in God to being like borderline agnostic and believing there's something, but not exactly what we think it is. Now I'm full-blown atheist. Like, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in any religion, whether it's Islam or Judaism or whatever. I don't... Like, it's altered forever. Like, I'm no longer religious. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the afterlife. I don't believe in heaven, hell, Satan or God, karma, luck, or anything. Everything happens in my brain as coincidence and just a chain of events that just happen. Things happen for a reason. It just happens. So with that being said, one of the viewpoints I had was racism and race. So I never really considered myself a racist growing up until I started noticing all the racist behaviors that I've had. And this wasn't my fault. This was taught down to me. I was not born a racist. I had a biracial cousin that I looked up to as like a brother, as like a twin, and I loved him to death. And I had an Uncle Jeff, who just so happened to be black, and I loved him to death, and I never really questioned why he was a different color than me. The only reason why I started looking at people differently ethnically was because I was brought up by two conservative Christian motherfuckers, and may they both rest in peace, and I'm going to get to them here in a minute, but I'm just going to put it out there right now, they were racist. They both had families from the South. We're not from the South, we're from Columbus, but like, my mom's dad, may he rest in peace, Papa Ernest, love him to death, man. Except the one bad thing I could say about him is he was a racist. But again, he came from fucking West Virginia. He was born in the 20s. And then he died in 2003, And then my mom and dad, both born in the fucking 60s. And they were taught down racism, and, they viewed things in a slightly racist way. Now, the expression, you can be racist and have black friends, is true. You can be a racist person and still have people of color. Or other way around, you could be any other kind of color. You can have white friends or whatever kind of friends. And yeah, you may get along with them, but that doesn't mean that you don't have this ideology of racism in your head. So first of all, I wanted to say here now, I'm not a racist, and I can prove this. And I can get a lot of feedback for this one too. A racist, first of all, believes in race. And when you're somebody like me, I don't believe in race. I believe race is just your skin tone. That's as deep as it goes, and I'm not going to be one of these millennials and overusing the word literally, but literally it's skin deep. That's as far as it goes. You're only black because it's your pigmentation. You're only white because of it. You're only Asian. It's depends on where you lived most of your life or wherever. That, to me, is the absolute definition of race. And to me, I don't believe in a race. Like, I don't believe people are predisposed to be in a certain way just because of their skin color. Maybe depending on where you lived and what kind of lifestyle you grew up with, yeah, you might follow and tread those tracks a little bit. But in reality, you are a person, just like I am, just like people walking down the street, just like any one of us. We are all just human beings. We're people. We have somewhat similar ideas and at the same time, different ideas. But generally, we are all just the same. I don't even identify as a white person. Like, I know that I'm, of Caucasian descent. I know my ancestors came from Europe, blah, 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 blah. But I don't feel like my personality is based on my skin color. And that's how I feel about other people. I don't judge people based on their skin color. I don't look at another person and go, okay, this person's this skin tone, so they must believe this. Or that person has that skin tone, or they believe in that. Fuck that. No. My idea is I don't know you personally until I've interacted with you a certain time. I have not created a scenario for you in my head at all, especially when it comes to your skin color. I can get along with anybody and everybody so long as I feel like that person isn't an asshole or isn't a total cunt, So that right there, with racism, like a racist, first of all, has to believe that there is a race. There's a difference between their ethnicity and the ethnicities around them. To me, there is no distinguished difference. Like, to me, we're just the same. Only difference is, literally, like I said, skin deep. We only slightly look different than others. But we all function the same. We all got this, we all need to eat. We all need to sleep. We all need to shit. Some of us want to mate and have children. Others don't. So that's my whole viewpoint. And when I was 16, I remember I was having these, I'm trying to think of the word. I had this epiphany while I was trying to sleep. Because I remember I was talking about it with my mother. About, if God wanted us to have kids with each other, or if he wanted us to, I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to use here, what I said. I said, God made us a different color for a reason. He wants whites to be with whites, blacks to be with blacks, Asians to be with Asians. And that was a very ignorant, fucking retarded ideology that I used to follow by. And then, realizing, hey, I had a biracial cousin growing up. He was very healthy, very happy. I got a biracial niece. Well, now this is right before Brooklyn was born. So with that being said, I was like, well, there's a lot of biracial people in the world, like multicultural people. And I just kept wondering, like, why that is, if God is allowing everybody to, like, mix breed and stuff. And then I started to notice, like, when people were pointing out a lot of stereotypes before I had this epiphany, like, I was hearing all these stereotypes about one ethnic group, and I'd be like, well, wait a minute, I'm not that ethnic group, and I believe in that. So wait a minute, does that make me that? Wait a minute, my stereotypes belong to some people, of people that aren't my ethnicity. What are you telling me? I had this one-on-one conversation with myself like a fucking weirdo schizophrenic, and I'm just like in bed like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? Like, could race just be someone's ideology? Like, could it just be that we're not looking at people as people and just looking at them as like a skin color? And I'm like, wow, what the fuck? And I laid in bed and I'm just like, dude, something just opened up to me. The world is changing around me. This is fucking freaky as hell. And I didn't, like, the next day, I still felt it all the way deep into my sleep. And I don't even remember having a dream that night. I probably did, but I just don't remember it. But then, like, I was walking around my school, and I started acting different. I started talking different. I started looking at people differently. And it wasn't just, like, a racial thing. Like, I didn't think blacks were black anymore. I didn't think whites were whites. I didn't think Asians were Asians. I was like, these are all the same fucking people. Maybe they might have not so much in common, but everything else is the same. They got 2 eyes, they got 2 hands, they got 10 fingers, 10 toes. They fucking breathe air, they have blood. Fuck, man. We're the same. We're Homo sapiens. We all fucking, react almost in the same way. I mean, yeah, obviously some people react to things differently, but generally, people react the same according to situations. But then it opened my eyes, and I don't know, I guess I just got comfortable, but at the same time, I found myself, arguing with people a lot, especially racist people, like my parents, and, even a couple of my siblings. When they'd say something racist, I would point it out, like, man, that's racist. Not all black people are like that, not all Asians are like that, not all Koreans, not all Mexicans, not all whites. And it even got to the point where I was being a nitpicking little cunt, where I would start taking comedians and, their jokes way too seriously. Like I would hear something that, Martin Lawrence would say, or Carlos Mencia, and I would get so offended. Not just on, white people's behalf, but, black people's. I'd be like, wait a minute, no, that's not true. Not all black people are like that. I know a black person, blah, blah, blah. And it's just first of all, it's a joke. They're just writing material to be funny. I mean, are certain jokes based on, some kind of level of truth? Yeah, agreed. But not all of it, And I'm like, well, that doesn't apply to me. That doesn't apply to my friends. I know it applies to some people, but is it because of their skin color? I heard Martin Lawrence making a joke one time about white people versus black people in a movie theater. And I was like, dude, I know white people who act like that in a theater. Fuck, man. I went and saw The Strangers, and the loudest motherfucker in the theater was a white dude. So, by the way, that movie fucking sucked. But anyways, I digress. I'm getting off track here. But that's pretty much it. That's my philosophy on racism. I don't believe in race. I don't judge people differently because of their skin color. I judge people based on my interactions with them, what I've been, our experiences together, and I think everybody else should believe that. Once you stop believing people are different because of their skin color, you kind of just look at the world in a different way, like I did. And fuck, man, none of this was taught to me. I know some people out there are probably like, well, Steven, I've learned that forever ago. I wasn't. I was a fucking teenager. I wasn't even an adult yet. And I discovered this all on my own. I wish I still had my MySpace up, or I could show the whole world this vlog that I made about racism and shit like that. And it just, my eyes got open. The world changed around me. Everything was different. And I was just like, what in the actual fuck, man? And it almost became this beautiful thing, And so, yeah. But anyways, that's my little ditty for today. I'm going to go ahead and log off here, use the restroom, go eat me some foodage. And you guys have yourself an awesome Monday night or Tuesday morning, whenever you're watching this. Love, peace, and chicken grease.